How to build a career to be a cyber warrior. Let's begin the session by taking the Almighty's name. I request Mohammed Salman of second year MCA to recite the Kirat.
Everyone. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغلوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين صدق الله العظيم.
Gunasundari, you're on mute.
Thank you, Salman. I now call upon Ms. Humaira Begum of second year MCA to welcome the gathering and introduce the resource person to us.
I request the host to kindly let Humaira Begum unmute. Humaira, you're on mute. Yeah.
It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to this webinar, If Data is New Oil. Cyber attack is a new warfare. How to build a career to be a cyber warrior. I extend a hearty welcome to our participants. I heartily welcome our resource person, Mr. Ramesh Sivaraman. He's a cybersecurity professional. He's a computer science graduate with a management degree and has spent around 27 years in the ICT industry. He's specialized in cybersecurity for more than 15 years with a focus on offensive security. Between 2005 to 2009, he worked in Almoed Group in Bahrain as a senior pre-sales engineer, where he was responsible for solution designing and various cybersecurity solutions. In years 2010 to 2021, he worked as a chief solutions architect at Cyborg Systems and Solutions in UAE. Since 2022, he is associated with the MMA INFOSEC FZE as a technical director. Last 10 years, he has worked in offensive security supporting counter-terrorism for national security agencies, military intelligence, and law enforcement agencies. He is currently into developing an MDR in a box for SME. He has executed various projects to name a few. Technical lead in government SOC and CRT in Bahrain, design and build National Highway Surveillance Project Iraq, Oil Pipeline Surveillance Project Nigeria, Forest Surveillance Project Uganda, Kenya, Security Consultancy Project for Oil and Natural Gas Company in Oman, Oil Spill Surveillance Project in Saudi Arabia, multiple managed SOC projects UAE. We are honored to have you with us today, sir. Once again, a warm welcome to all the participants, to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Actually, it's a wonderful invitation. Shall I proceed, or should we wait for somebody to?
Yes, sir, you can proceed.
Okay. Oh, it's really glad to actually talk to people from my hometown. I've been out of country at least for the last 18 to 19 years, though I'm born and brought up in Chennai. So it's, in fact, I've not traveled for quite a few years because of the COVID and things like that. The last time I visited Chennai was 2019. And today I'm very glad I'm able to connect with people from Chennai. Okay, so I am going to talk about why it's important to build a career in cybersecurity. I'm given 1 hour time. I have around roughly 15 slides with the content. So I'm going to roughly take around 2 to 3 minutes per slide. So 45 to 50 minutes, I will be able to complete the presentation. The balance 10 to 15 minutes, we can have a Q&A session, but it's not necessarily that we have to wait till the end to ask questions, because I'm going to ask you a lot of questions from the beginning. So I know we are around 100 plus people are in the group. So when I ask questions, all the 100 may not able to answer, but somebody as a moderator, if somebody acts as a moderator, he or she can actually get me the right answer from the team. See, the objective of this session is basically to be more interactive. The idea is not to demonstrate or share what I know, but rather I want you to understand how this industry is operating. And it is very, very important that the education institution like yours, as well as the education practitioners, get aligned to the industry practitioners, so that when the students comes out, they know exactly what kind of skill set they need to possess and what kind of opportunities are available in the market, so that they can align themselves easily. Okay, so with this note, I'm going to start my presentation. Is my presentation visible? My slides are visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I've chosen this topic, if data is the new oil. I'm sure most of you have heard about this statement now, at least from 2017 onwards. This is a statement, it's been prevailing everywhere. In fact, I'm residing in a oil product producing country. It is more relevant when I say data is the new oil. Okay, now what it means is, now the dependency on the traditional resources like oil and things like that are going away. The world is moving towards the data. When we say data, I'm saying, what I'm saying is the gone are the days where the data has to be a structured one, be in the databases. Now the data is prevailing in every form, like unstructured and semi-structured in different places. So the world is moving towards keeping data as a core for most of the decision making, things like that. I was just reading some time back. I understood we have more than 8 zettabyte of data which is available on this world now. Just for your understanding how this zettabyte, 1 zettabyte looks like, it is like counting the number of sand grains across the world. If you're going to count that, that is equal to 1 zettabyte. So we have data much more than that currently in the digital space. And why I've related data with the cyber attack is, now every one of us are digitally connected. Everybody has a digital footprint now, thanks to Google, Apple, and so many other companies. Everybody is either vulnerable or directly, or we are part of the attack in terms of a bot and things like that. So that's why, if data is the new oil, cyber attack is going to be the new warfare. When you say new warfare, not necessarily it's between a country to country. It can be between a country to an individual organization, business. It could be utility companies. It could be healthcare, things like that. So the agenda is like, I have some 7 to 8 areas to talk about. So we will start with the icebreaking session. Basically, I'm going to ask the group a particular question. and then slowly we build the momentum from then, and then we'll see why we need to secure business. And I'm going to show you the live attack map, the dashboard, which will give you a perspective about the daily attack and which countries are more actively involved and things like that, and what business says about this cybersecurity, what is the kind of approach the industry is taking it up, the kind of skill gaps available, since I'm actually operating from UAE, I want to give a perspective about the UAE stats in terms of population and things like that, so we get an idea if you are looking at an opportunity in UAE. And then I want to touch upon a little bit on the trends on the industry, and the kind of career options available and kind of certifications available for the students to take up. So it is not how to build career as a cyber warrior. It is also why we need to build a career as a cyber warrior. These are the two things we are going to look at in today's session. This is my favorite slide. I've been actually using this for the last, at least for 10 years. Okay, and every time I look at this slide, it is very intriguing to me. So somebody can answer me, if the tree falls in the forest, if there's nobody around, will it make sound or no? Can anybody answer this? Hello? Am I audible, first of all?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So see, this is a very, very important point. We want to set this pitch, the momentum for this presentation based on this. So somebody can answer from the students?
They're sharing
the faculty.
Sir, they're sharing in the chat box.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I'm seeing it. So the answer is yes, they are saying. So my question to them is, if nobody is around, how do you know there is a sound happened or not? Correct. Somebody said, even it does sound, then there will be nobody there to hear it. Okay. So this is the exact status of cybersecurity today in the industry. People think if I am secured, I will not get attacked, or I will not be compromised. Because I have my firewall, I have my antivirus or the endpoint protection. So I start believing that I am protected. But the reality is, even if you have all layers of security, still it is possible to get penetrated or to be compromised. So ladies and gentlemen, cybersecurity is not a ordinary business. It's a very, very serious business. In the world, millions and millions of dollars are spent on a daily basis, and millions of dollars are lost on a daily basis. Okay, so with that, I'm going to the next slide. This is a very, very interesting probing questions. I always believe this is the basic understanding of all the students who are here. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions. Since I believe that people give the answers on the chat, I would love to see what is their response on this. So today, in a way or not, everybody is connected to the business. Okay, so enterprise is the economy is driving most of the countries. So my first question is, why do business exist? And at the end of the day, end of my session, you will understand why am I asking this question now, how am I connecting this with our cybersecurity portfolio. So why do business exist? Anybody? To make money. Very good, very good. Excellent. You're right. We are in the business. Everybody is in the business to make profit. Excellent. Now, what helps you to make profit? See, none of these answers given by them is wrong. It's all about picking the right answers which suits the discussion. What helps you to make profit? Okay. Okay, I see that somebody is saying good products, investment, idea. Okay, All are none of these answers are wrong. Understanding customer needs, quality and consistency. Very good, very good. So it's absolutely all are right. All are also a right answer, but the most appropriate answer for this is the right decisions. So if you make the right decision in a business, okay, at the right time, by the right people, obviously you will make profit. Now, what will help you to make right decisions? My next question to the team is, what will help you to make the right decision? Any guesses? Knowledge, very good. Somebody's coming closer to it. Experience. Somebody touched upon an interesting point, data analysis. Very good, very good. So what is required to make the right decisions is the information. The right information at the right time is the critical for right decisions, right? Even in your personal life or in your professional life, when you have to make a decision, you need information, correct? Now, what is information? Now, from a business, we are getting into the ICT side. What is information? Information is data, collection of data. No, you can better it. You can actually processed data. Very good. So what is information? Information is nothing but a processed data. Very good. Now from here on, we are getting into the ICT part of it. Now, information is nothing but a processed data. So if you have to protect this data, so data is the most important, right? If a data is processed, it becomes information. If you have the right information, you can make a right decision. That right decision can lead to profitable business, correct? So what is called a protection of data? Security, data security. Okay, that's fine. So security is all about protection of data. Data is a fundamental component of the business. Today, with the digitization, digital transformation, these are the words you would have heard about. You might have heard it quite prevalent after this COVID-19. Digital transformation is driving the business enterprise crazily, and data has become more prominent, and security is all about protection of data. Okay. Now, if security is about protection of data, what is that process the data called? Because data alone is not adequate for making a decision, right? You need to process the data. What do you call that software that processes the data? Data analysis. You can say that. What the set of software which is used to process the data, what it is called? No, database is a place where you store. No, not manipulation. Data protection, digital device. Okay, so good guys. You guys are trying it. The answer is applications. You heard about ERP, right? ERP, CRM. Okay, all of these are applications, right? So if you have to process the data, you need to have an application. Okay, now application can come in any form. You can write your own application, or enterprise might at enterprise level, they may have multiple different applications, or one enterprise resource planning kind of stuff. So the application is the one which does the processing of data. And where do this application sits? So we understood data is important, and data became information because of the application. And where does this application sits? Any answers? Okay. The hardware, excellent. In IC hardware, that's the most very appropriate answer. So where do these applications sit? Applications sit in servers and storage. Basically, the data resides in storage, The applications is handled by the systems. So now, how the data flow happens? Now you have an application which is sitting on the server, which actually has the data, but data is not captured at the server level, right? Data is captured at the end user level. Okay. Now, how the data flow from the end user devices to the server? What it is called? No, not data mining. What you call the data flow from the end user devices or the end user to the servers? Data transmission. Can somebody tell me a better word? Data transfer. What is this called? Data transfer called? Because you're all IT students. Networking, excellent. Very good. So data flow from an end user device or the place where it is captured to the system, that is the servers, is called the networking. If you see this, the entire fundamental blocks of the ICT is covered. The ICT is all about data, application, networking, servers, and storage. Now, you understand how each one of them is important for the business. If the business has to exist to make a profit, they have to make the right decisions. And if they have to make the right decision, they need to have the right information at the right time. And if they have to have the information, they need to have the IT in place, which has the capability to process the data into information through the application. And the application resides on servers and storage, and the way the data flows between one point to another point is called networking. So the entire ICT and the relevance of ICT to the business is what this slide talks about. I'm sure students, you understood why IT is no more an cost center. Is now slowly becoming a profit center, because the organization, especially the securities, today people, the CISOs, when I say CISO, the Chief Information Security Officer, or the CIOs are now representing in the board, because any disruption to IT, any disruption to performance of these applications will affect the business. So they are also playing an important role in the board of directors or the business decisions. Okay. Now, having said that, I want to ask another set of series of questions. Why do we need to secure? Why it is suddenly important? It's become important now to secure. Okay. Now, I want please to understand, this is not just a statistics, but this is the reality what we are into. More than 1 billion malware programs are out there in the wild web. I'm sure most of you are aware of the internet and the dark and deep web. Students, are you aware of the dark and deep web? Somebody can say yes? Yes, sir. Very good. So what we see is only 20% of the internet. I mean, basically the interconnected world, what we see is only 20%. And that too, we are able to see through the search engines. Okay. Now, 80% of the entire internet or the network, internet is present, which is not accessible to the common public. You need to have a different browsers. You need to have different protocols to access those kind of system. But unfortunately, this dark and deep web, especially the dark web, is more as of now prevailed with a lot of illegal business and things like that. Okay. Now, when I say 1 billion malware, most of this malware are actually getting developed in this dark web and comes up to the surface web. Okay. On an everyday basis, imagine 500,000 new malwares are getting released. Okay. And Google says 7% of the websites in the world are already infected with the malware. Okay. Now, this is a very, very important point for us, because we believe that we are running at your university level, or even in the business level. People think, I have my firewall, I have my endpoint antivirus protection, so I'm protected. so nobody can hack into my system. But what happens if I, as a user, if I access on a website which is infected? Okay, now that is a HTTP traffic. I'm sure people aware of that. It's the port 80 traffic. So HTTP is port 80 is generally allowed in the firewall. The traffic comes, the firewall thinks it's an legitimate traffic because we have allowed the port 80 to communicate. Now, if we happen to browse on an infected website, there's a possibility that Trojan can come inside your firewall, or for that matter, even sometimes the antivirus cannot identify this malware because they think that it is a legitimate traffic. So it's a very, very serious situation. And then almost 15% of the computer malware, what you see today, is all comes in a form of a Trojan. When we say Trojan, what I'm trying to say is they are encapsulated or enveloped in the pretext of a genuine traffic or a genuine file. So the antivirus to the firewall, to the IPS, whatever devices you have, as you think that it's a genuine traffic or a genuine packet, so it allows, but actually there is an executable file which is under that Trojan, which will create that malfunctioning of the system. Okay, and the most important attack vector which is used by the hackers today is this spear phishing. When I say spear phishing, I'm talking about sending a phishing mail to the users, because students, you have to understand, people who are going to take up a career in the cybersecurity, the most vulnerable or the most weakest link in the entire computer industry is the people. People are more vulnerable than systems. You train people, how many number of times you train them, you provide them knowledge, you give a hands-on experience, still people make mistake. If you can compromise people, you can compromise systems. Okay, so the most preferred attack vector for any hacker to launch an attack on system is basically the email, phishing email, especially the spear phishing. When I say spear phishing, it is basically to understand the user. For example, I work in a pharma industry or in a healthcare industry. Generally, then the hacker understands any traffic. Generally, the traffic comes from this organization. Will tend to go to a website which talks about health-related stuff or pharmaceuticals or chemicals, those kind of things. So if they infect those websites, obviously the system can get infected. Or they can send a mail from a pharmaceutical company or from a healthcare company or from HR for that matter, from like HR from an hospital, renowned hospital, saying that we are looking for a doctor, or we're looking for there's an opening for a nurse. So people tend to click thinking that it's a genuine email because everybody is hungry for an opportunity, without knowing that now the minute you click, there's an executable file which gets automatically launched in your PC. So 46% of the hackers worldwide prefer this kind of attack vector. It is not just systems. It's not about PCs. It's not about servers and storage we are talking about. Today, the cyber attack can even bring down the F-35 jets, much more effective than missiles. I'm sure people who are following Ukraine-Russia war is aware that how people are able to bring down what you call the power generate nuclear stations, power generators, utility companies. And you would have heard about, I don't know how many of you are aware, that the NORD-2 pipeline, oil and gas pipeline between Russia to Europe is actually caught on a fire. People were under impression that it's a cyber attack, but it's nothing but it's a terrorist attack, but it is nothing but a cyber attack. Okay, so today sitting anonymously, remotely in any part of the world, I can change the parameters of the what do you call the electricity company or a water company, so that the parameter changes. For example, if the pressure increases, the pipe can blow up. Okay, or if the heat goes up, the fire can catch up. So the cyber attack not necessarily be on enterprise; it can be also on the utility companies, energy sector, or even it can bring down the F-35s. Okay, Now, the cybercrime is expected to, the cost of the cybercrime is expecting to grow phenomenally. We are talking about 10.5 trillion by 2025. So, having said this, what I'm trying to convey on the point is that this is one industry. What comes, what may come, what may not come. There is no recession for cybersecurity industry, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, with the COVID coming in, business can affect, things can stop, but the cyber attack or the hackers will never stop, and protecting that is not going to be stopped. So anybody who chooses a career in cybersecurity will have a wonderful career. Okay, now I've spoken about how malicious the internet looks like, but I also want to show you the live dashboard of how the attack happens. Okay, now can you see my screen? Is it visible?
Sir.
Yeah, can you see the
Yes, sir.
attack screen? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Yeah. This is the live dashboard. Okay. Now this talks about, for example, today there are more than 500,000 attacks has happened from morning. Okay. Now the local time is 6 o'clock. That you can see in the right side of it. Now you can see which are the top industries which is getting affected. Okay. Obviously financial services like banking, insurance, investment corporations are the most preferred targeted organizations in the world. Then the telecom, consulting, telecom, manufacturing are the various organizations. You can see that the top countries which are prevalent in the attack. Now, how this is possible? How do I get this kind of dashboard? Is there are organizations like, for example, here I'm giving a display of a FireEye. I will show you another dashboard as well. Now, these companies have sensors placed in the service providers across the world. Okay. Now, these sensors monitor those attack traffic, which is actually coming inside the country. So when they know the source IP and they know the destination IP, based on that, they were able to build the map, like this is the attack route or the attack path. That's why you are able to see from, for example, you can see from United States, it's going all the way to China, to the Philippines, and now you don't see much of attack happening in India, but it also happens from there. Let's see, Saudi Arabia is very active, Bulgaria is active. Okay, now I'm going to show another screen so that you get another perspective. Sorry. Is it you're able to see the cyber threat real-time map?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very much, sir. Very much.
Okay. Now this is the map which talks about. Okay. Now look at this traffic. Now this dashboard gives you based upon the attack pattern, they are able to classify. For example, this is the on-access scan. Basically, the hackers do the first stage, which is the scanning, which you call it a recon activity. So that is the on-access scan. There are more than 31,000 scans are happening concurrently now. This is on-demand scan. Then you have this almost 56,000 mail antivirus. Basically, the mail viruses are being detected by the antivirus. Then you will have the web antivirus, then the IDS systems. So there are various systems. These are vulnerability scanners. These are all the anti-spam. Okay, this is the botnet activity detection. These are various sensors. The Kaspersky has put that on the various telecom operators. So based on that, they are able to monitor the live traffic and find out what are the real-time triggers of various attacks. Now, this is not just a gimmick, but it's a real fact. Not only Kaspersky and this FireEye, there are many companies which gives you the dashboard. But the idea is, by now you have gotten a perspective how active this what do you call the cyber attack world is operating on. Okay, so I am going back to the presentation. Okay, so now we have seen the live dashboard. Now this comes the justification. Now we know how malicious or how disruptive this kind of attacks are. So today, this is an what do you call survey conducted by an insurance company worldwide. More than 2,000 organizations in 80 different countries, they conducted this. Almost 44% of the respondents have said that the biggest business disruption is going to be the cyber attack. Okay, now pandemic has stopped the business for many organizations. The world went through lockouts and blackouts, but now after that, the biggest threat now in the industry, in enterprise, or even for the government function, is the cyber attack. Okay, now there's only two kind of organization. One is either attacked and they are aware of the attack, and there is an organization which are attacked but they are not aware that they have been attacked. Okay, and another interesting thing you have to understand, it is like the analogy for you to understand is, it's like a bowler and a batsman. Okay, batsman is always given one single chance, right? If you make one mistake, it gets out, whereas the bowler can come again and again on the batsman 6 times in an over, and you can bowl multiple overs. So here the bowlers can be related to the hackers, and the batsman is related to the defenders in the cybersecurity professionals in the organization. So if you make one single mistake, then you are compromised. 99 times you have done good, nobody is going to bother. If you just make one mistake, you are absolutely gone. Then the enterprise goes down. Whereas the hacker, even though they fail 100 times, if they succeed one time, they get the money what they want. Okay, so this is the what you call asynchronous kind of environment between the hackers and the defenders. So the general approach based on the best practices in organization is, generally they develop technologies or place technologies which create the deterrence. When you say deterrence, it basically creates a discouragement to the hacker. See, you have to understand the hackers or the malicious actors mentality. They always look for the low-hanging fruit. They always look for organizations which are easily compromisable. They don't want to put too much effort and get access to an organization. So they always look for easy penetration. So when they see that there is multiple layers of security, then they get deterred. Okay, but sometimes there are hackers which are state sponsored, or sometimes which has a very strong malicious intention, especially when they are focusing on the business and banking enterprises and insurance. They persistently attack or continuously try. So you need to have technologies which will delay them. That means they need to have multiple layers of, firewall or whatever you call it, which will make them to try multiple times to penetrate. So that is the delay strategy. But in case if they are able to, even after that they are able to persist and persuade, then you need to have technologies which will prevent that attack. Okay. Now, till now, I have seen most of the organizations in the world have this kind of capability. So they develop infrastructure, they develop people, they have systems and policies and procedures in place, which helps them to have this deterrence, delay, and prevent. But there are only few organizations in the world which have developed the capability of detecting an attack. Even though if it passes through on a preventive technologies, if it passes through, you should have the ability to detect, contain this attack immediately, and not only contain it. When I say contain, I'm talking about like quarantining. As all of us have gone through the COVID-19, you understand what is quarantining. So it's quarantining that particular infected device or a server, and then do the forensic analysis on that and suppress that attack so that it doesn't pass on to the other system and it doesn't reoccur also. Okay, so that is the recovery state. But this is a general approach taken by most of the organizations in terms of cybersecurity, and this is how the defense in depth work looks like. Okay, so I understand you have a cybersecurity paper in the MCA, so you have to understand that cybersecurity is always a layered approach. Now, all of these which I'm talking about, which is I'm showing here, are preventive technologies, are deterrence technologies, are delay technologies. Okay, so mission critical assets are your data and application. See, you have to understand what is the aim of an actor, a malicious actor or a malware. What is the intention? It is basically to capture data or exfiltrate data from your organization, from the business or entity, so that they can sell this data in a dark web or to a competition, or they hold the data. That means they encrypt the data, hold it, ask for a ransomware. At least for the last 10 years, ransomware is the biggest threat in the industry. Okay, so they encrypt the data, critical data, your database servers or file servers or whatever it is, and they demand that the enterprise pays some millions of dollars. Only then they get a private key to open to decrypt the data and see it. Even though you do a backup, they can still reach out to the backup storages and encrypt the entire stuff. Okay, so protecting the data is very, very critical. Not only in data to avoid the data breaches and ransomware attack, even the manipulation. Sometimes what happens, hackers get in and manipulate or change the data so that it functions differently. Okay, so that is at the data level. The second most important thing is the bringing down the availability of the system. See, today, business continuity is the most critical aspect of any business. Yeah, for the business continuity can be affected by many ways. For example, COVID-19 showed the world how business continuity can be disrupted. The same way, cyber attack can bring down the systems like servers or storage, the web server, application server can be brought down so that it is not available for the users. So once it is not available, then the customers of that business gets affected, and the whole business goes on a multiple millions of losses. So you can either steal the data, exfiltrate the data, or hold the data for ransomware, or bring down the systems in terms of a DOS attack. I'm sure people would have heard about the denial of service attack and distributed denial of service attack. Okay, so by various attacks, you can bring down the systems and disturb the business continuity. So generally the enterprise has multiple layers of security, right, from protecting the data to the application to the endpoint, okay, and the perimeter, things like that. So for the students, you have to understand one thing: post-COVID, people started working from home. The biggest impact is now people no more work from office environment. They can work from home, they can work from a coffee shop, they can work from anywhere, right? Now, if you have to work from anywhere, that means the traditional perimeter. If you see here, there's a perimeter, we are talking about application firewall, honeypot, advanced sensor, blah, blah, blah. Okay, the perimeter is vanishing. Now, the user has to be given access to the data anywhere, any device, any point of the time. If that is to happen, the cloud security, that's where the cloud, the implementation of the cloud, or the rollout of the cloud services is growing up rapidly, and the traditional perimeter is actually losing out. So you need to have a different perspective or different approach towards the cybersecurity. Okay. Now, having said that, the kind of technologies required and things like that, how the cybersecurity skills are available, and what is the kind of gap is we're seeing it globally? We're seeing that the huge shortage of cybersecurity professionals. Not just because I'm there in the cybersecurity profession. I'm sure by now I would have explained to you how important the business cybersecurity is there. But unfortunately, you don't have that kind of skilled resources available in today. I will also touch upon country like UAE, where I'm residing, how this shortage is majorly impacted because most of the population in this kind of countries, the Middle East, is an expat population. When I say expat, or basically we leave our motherland and come here, right? People come here, they don't reside, they are not a citizen of this country, right? So they don't reside for a longer period. So we always look for better opportunity, better salary and things like that, and keep moving from one organization to another. Because of that, the organization cannot hold the skill set. So cybersecurity is predominantly handled by the technology and the skill set. If you have the technology, but if you don't have the right skill set, you are still you're going to have a attack from the cyber hackers. So the reason for the talent shortage is obviously there is less skilled resources. People traditionally, you've seen people taking up a job in programming because they believe software engineering is a highly paid job. For the people who are doing MCA in this university, I just want to tell you one thing. Last 10 years, apart from cybersecurity, I've spent a good amount of time in the automation. I'm sure you would have heard about a technology called robotic process automation, RPA. Now, automation, RPA is really revolutionizing the industry. Most of the jobs in the coming years will be lost because these are robots. Robots are nothing but, when you say robot, nothing, not like, you don't imagine like, like they show it in the movies. They are simple software programs which artificial intelligence built into it. They have the machine learning capability. When I say machine learning algorithms, I'm talking about supervised learning and unsupervised learning. Okay, so with the combination of deep learning and machine learning and all that, this application, this software can perform most of the manual tasks which are repetitive in nature in the banks, in the insurance companies, in the government agencies, and the people are the posts like clerks, accountants, okay, back office jobs, call center, all the jobs are going to go away, vanish another 5 to 10 years because the rapid adoption of RPA and the artificial intelligence is really growing in a big way. Now, you'll be surprised. I mean, I don't know how many of you are aware. Now, UAE, for that matter, it's no more. We have no more. Our weekends are not Friday and Saturday. The UAE aligned to the global clock, so we have holidays on Saturday and Sunday. It's not that in some of the Emirates in UAE have even started adopting 4 days working days. Okay, so for example, Sharjah and one more Emirate, I think Ajman or some other place, I've started adopting 4 years working day, 4 days a weekday, and 3 years a weekend, 3 days a weekend. This is what's going to happen. The more and more the robotic or the artificial intelligence is going to prevail in this society, people will lose job. Obviously, organization cannot afford to employ all of them, so they will start working for 4 days and still try to meet the same productivity level as you do it in the 5 days or 6 days. Okay, so what I'm trying to convey is even software programming job can be taken over by the RPAs or the AI systems, because I don't know, just for the information I'm telling you, there is a application, there's a program called deep deep learning program developed by the Google. Okay, and now these are all unsupervised learning set of algorithms. That means it can infer from the outcome and will start writing its own code or aligning its own code accordingly based on the output. Now, one of that such program has suddenly written a poem which was surprised even the Google. How can an application, a software can write its own poem? Because it read so many poems, it understood the concept behind that. So it can innovatively write its own poem. With this extrapolating this kind of technologies, I see the software engineering will be occupied more with the robots and bots. Okay, but one industry which even with all this artificial intelligence and all those technologies coming in, the human presence is ever required, because the other side of the table are the hackers, are the humans. Though they also use artificial intelligence platform, they are providing ransomware as a service and things like that. But still, the humans are operating from the other side of the table. So you need to have humans trained in this kind of technologies to protect from these hackers. Now, just for you to understand a simple perspective, the UAE population is 10.8 million. Okay, when I say 10.8 million, for you to relate to, is I'm talking about 1 crore is the population of UAE. Okay. Okay. Now I'm to compare that with the Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu is, I think, more than 6.5 crores of population, right? So the whole of UAE is just 1 crore. Out of that, if you see the locals, is only 11%. Okay, that means only 10 lakhs or 11 lakhs people are the locals. Balance 99 lakhs are the expats. Okay, now out of these expats, if you see that Indians are the dominating, Pakistani is the next one. Okay, now if you put the Asians put together, these are the cream of resources who are in the IT industry in UAE. Out of this cream, okay, the people who have come 5 years, 10 years back, okay, I've moved here to the UAE, are the one who is dominating in the cybersecurity space. But the reality is, every day the attack space or the attack vector is changing, attack surface is changing. You need to have a new skill set. You need to have a young minds to come in and take up this kind of job, because most of these guys, because you know the fact that none of these expats can reside permanently in the country. After your retirement age, maybe 2-3 years after that, you have to leave this country unless you have your own, invested property and things like that. In that case, there's a huge requirement in the GCC or Middle East countries for kind of a cyber expertise. Doesn't mean that other countries doesn't have a requirement. Every country today has a trained cybersecurity professionals. Okay, now let's see what is the trend in the industry. So as I said, cybersecurity is affecting every organization. 80% of the organizations in the world are either affected or about to get affected in the coming years. Okay, the only question is whether they are aware or not aware. Okay, now next is recruitment and retention is the biggest challenge, because today the cybersecurity professionals are highly paid in this part of the world. So holding them is a very, very challenge for most of the HR organization, HR department, any organization. Okay, and what they look at is obviously educational qualification experience, but they also look for certifications, specialist certifications, which will guarantee them that you are exposed to the particular technologies or a particular area of expertise. Okay, and they're also looking for more diverse skill set. It is not like, see what happened for you to get a perspective. People who are handling firewall, who are handling routers and switches, have actually moved to the cybersecurity space because they were there in the company for quite a long time. So for them to get elevated or to get into a next position, the obvious opportunity was getting cybersecurity. But that is, their understanding on cybersecurity is not exactly as what it is required to be. The reason is they understand from a preventive perspective, or from like a firewall, or from an antivirus perspective. But in reality, to do a defending, to be a defender, better defender, you need to master the art of exploitation. Until unless you develop the hacking capability, you can be an ethical hacker, whatever it is, you can never be a good defender. So organizations are looking for more diverse skill sets. Okay, and there is a lot of cyber security awareness programs are conducted in terms of certifications or user training and things like that. Okay. Now, what kind of careers are available in cybersecurity? Okay. Now, any organization, CISO, this Chief Information Security Officer, is called CISO. Okay, now this is a CXO position, like your CEOs, COOs. CISO is a very, very critical position in an organization. The people who join as a cybersecurity engineer can grow slowly up the ladder and hit the position of a CISO in any organization. Now, what is happening is the CISO is now getting a seat in the board. Okay, this is a new trend that is what's happening. Many organizations in the Middle East, as well as even in India, considering CISO to be part of the board of directors, because they also determine the fate of the business. Okay, now apart from the CISO, which requires experience and administrative skills and things like that, you can start a career as an IT security engineer. Okay, slowly you can move to a pen tester. Okay, and then you can move to a security administrators, then develop a security architect, or you can stay as a you can spend some time on the forensic side and get into security architect, and then you can become an information security analyst. And eventually, you can move to a CISO. Okay, now multiple career options are there. You can just you can start your career as just an IT engineer or security engineer, or you can actually do certification on the penetration testing and things like that, offensive security, and then you can straight away get into the pen tester. And today there are these what do you call bug bounty reward systems are there in many organizations. For example, today if I find a vulnerability in a business, in their internet website or applications and things like that, instead of paying a ransomware, instead of paying money to those hackers, those organizations are willing to pay money to those kind of ethical hackers or penetration testers. So students who are studying now can earn side by side just by doing the bug bounty exploration. Okay. So I can actually go in deep. So in the Q&A session, you can ask me. I can tell you what kind of skill set is required for each of these career and what kind of certifications is required. Okay, now I will move to the next slide, which talks about what are the roles an organization looking for, what kind of profiles are available in the organization. So the cloud is actually, it's a big buzz now, though it has been there for a quite long time. Now, because of after the COVID-19, the adoption of cloud has become more prevalent. So people are moving towards the cloud, and the enterprise is looking for specialists on the cloud side security. Okay, to be honest, there's not much of a difference between on-premises security and cloud security, but there are certain ways the cloud operates. So a little bit of exposure and understanding is very critical for this. SOC analyst is the most demanding position in the Middle East, as well as I think that in India as well. Okay. Now, I remember the young lady, when she was introducing me, she read me that there are multiple projects Ramesh has delivered in terms of managed SOC. Okay. It is not a SOC, it's basically a security operations center, which is like your network operations center. Now, every organization which is like a slightly above small and medium enterprise to the large enterprise either have their own SOC or they will outsource the SOC. When the people who are below that in terms of small and medium enterprises, today they are not able to afford to have their own SOC or even manage, outsource their services requirements to the managed SOC providers. That is why if you have seen, she has read in a statement that Ramesh is working on building a MDR in a box. So what we are currently working on is developing a single box which can be put onto a small and medium enterprises who cannot spend that kind of amount of money. But this box can stay in the network and act like a the information collector, all critical information collector with respect to the endpoint, logs, the cloud, network traffic, vulnerability, all this are collected in this box. And only the metadata we pull this from the box, and then the SOC analyst can analyze it and find out if there any attack has happened or any attack is happening, and then we can contain the attack even before it becomes a catastrophic. So SOC analyst is a demanding job, and it is going to be the high demanding job in the future as well. Apart from that, security administrator, security architect, these are the various roles which are demanding. But as I said, the cloud and the SOC are the most demanding jobs in any organization. And the kind of certifications available, very renowned. There are multiple certifications available, but the most renowned certifications are basically the CISSP. See, somebody wants to grow to a CISO of an organization, as I told you, the Chief Information Security Officer, they are expected to do CISSP, which I have done 4 5 years back. Like if you are going on that what do you call the administration, you can go on CSSP. If you're looking at the governance side, you have to do the CSM, okay? And the cloud, you have the CCSP, okay? And if you want to be an auditor, basically who audit the compliance of the process and policies and procedures with respect to the industry standard like 27001 or the PCI card industry. There are various standards are available. You know, by the way, I want to highlight one point. Your syllabus has a particular topic called the data privacy. Okay, students, this is the most interesting topic now. Worldwide, data privacy is the most critical subject. There are a lot of, I don't know whether you are familiar with that, with the standard called GDPR, Global Data Protection Law. The GDPR is generally actually implemented in the Europe. Now every country, India, Middle East, everybody started having their own data privacy laws, which gives basically 2 things. The consent management, the user, the consumer, like you and me, should have the decision, should be able to take a decision to decide whether the organization on which we are consuming services, for example, a telecom or a utility company, electricity company, or a Amazon kind of e-commerce site, whether they have the right to hold my data, my personal data. When I say personal data, I'm talking about today, the organizations are capturing your name, email ID, phone number, your national ID. Yeah. For example, if it's an insurance company, they also capture your diseases and your personal identification information, PII data. Okay. Now, going forward, globally, the awareness has come because this is where the compromise happens, the breaches happens. So the user, the consumer is given the right to tell the company that, give the consent that you can keep my data. No, I've done my transaction. I'm no more doing business with you guys. Please remove my data. Okay, because data are not necessarily stored in the databases. Today, data can be unstructured. That means a Word file, or semi-structured, like Excel files are semi-structured. It can be images, it can be audio files, it can be video clips. So data about you can be in various forms. And today, organization has mandated to hold this data securely. So data privacy is a very critical area. So students who are interested in this area, please pursue the career. A tremendous job opportunity is there in every part of the world. Okay, now this is my interesting slide. I'm coming to the end of the presentation. I'm actually running 5 minutes more than my allotted time. I'm going to complete in a slide or 2. So I strongly believe if you want to be a good cybersecurity professional, you need to understand, or you need to develop a skill set to be a good hacker. If you don't practice the art of exploitation, you can never master the art of defense. I'm sure people who understand or agree with me. If you want to be a good policeman, you need to understand how a thief operates, how a robber operates, right? Same way, if you want to be a good cybersecurity professional, you need to understand how the hacker operates, or what kind of mindset the hacker has. If you see this, the important point here I want to highlight is the tolerance. Okay, Generally, the hackers who are operating in the dark web or in the dark space, they have a lot of patience. They try persistently, continuously. If they decide the target, if they want to get into a bank, come what may, they may spend months together, because for them, it is not how many months it matters. What kind of money they earn after the end of the day is what matters. Yeah. So they have a lot of tolerance, plus highly creative. They are problem solvers. Generally, it is not a technical skill. Hacking is not a technical skill. If I learn a programming language, if I learn to use a little bit of tools, it doesn't mean that you become a hacker. You need to have the curiosity. Curiosity is the fundamental attitude or attitude required for an hacker. So, students, if any one of you have that kind of strong curiosity to go deep and deep, to go further and to dig deep, then I think cybersecurity is a very good profession for you. So apart from the domain expertise and things like that, these are the three things I see is a very critical quality. One is you need to develop the patience, highly creative, and you should have the curiosity. Okay, now comes the next question. Do you have in you? Okay, so the idea of this session is basically to give awareness about why you need to look at cybersecurity and what kind of opportunities are there in the market. At the same time, we want to actually identify those bright minds who are interested in the cybersecurity. So I've been interacting with Dr. Revati. So post this discussion, I will request those students who are interested, who actually are really curious, okay, want to build a career in cybersecurity, especially on the ethical hacking, please contact Dr. Revati or whoever Dr. Revati suggests. Then we will have a separate session for those students and then we'll go through a series of interview and selection process. And then the idea is we want to capture those young bright minds and give the internship so that we can take them into the industry by the time they complete their professional degree. With this, I have completed my presentation. I have slightly exceeded 10 minutes from the given time, but thank you so much for this opportunity. I am sure I've conveyed my message to my best of my ability. Over to you, faculty and students.
Thank you, sir, for a very interesting and informative session. Guys, if you have any doubts or if you want to ask questions, you can post it in chat box.
Was it interesting, madam? Was it interesting? Is it really useful?
Really,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We have
Yes,
so
sir.
many real-time clouds and also it's very useful, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay. Now shoot now.
Any doubts? Do you have any questions?
I'm just looking at the chat. Okay, so somebody was talking about compared to software development, it's a bit harder to get a job in cybersecurity, especially for freshers. Okay, now it is yes or no. Okay, it depends upon which kind of job you're going to take it on. So my cybersecurity is not just learning about hacking or getting into that space directly. You need to understand networking, the fundamentals of networking very clear. So to start a career, you need to start as a networking engineer or a administrator. Okay, so cybersecurity is a combination of, because we have seen, right, data is critical and data can be can run on the applications and the server, storage, networking, everything is involved in that. So if you have to be in a cybersecurity professional, you need to develop understanding on networking, operating systems, database, and the network security infrastructure. then only you can actually call yourself as a good cybersecurity professional. So you can start a career as a network engineer or a IT administrator, and from there you can grow into a cybersecurity professional. Yeah. Any other questions? After MCA, what are the field we can get into it? Okay. Now, the MCA, I'm very glad to know that because traditionally MCA is all about programming, right? People always think MCA, people study MCA because they want to get into software line. I'm very glad to know that your MCA has a syllabus on cybersecurity. And I was very impressed when I saw that there's a subject which talks about data privacy. Okay. So you have, as I told you, there are multiple career options are there for you if you want to get into cybersecurity. You can be a pen tester. You can start as a network administrator or a network engineer. Okay, and slowly build the career into a SOC analyst. Okay, and eventually everybody's goal is to get into the management, the CXO levels, that is the CISO position in any organization. But trust me, you may start you may have a very humble beginning, but you will have a wonderful career because software industry can be automated in a big way, and the people, you may not require that kind of programmers as we are seeing now. Okay, the business outsourcing business also will die because the automation industry is picking up big way, and all this RPAs and bots will kill those jobs. But cybersecurity is going to be there forever because, as I told you, the adversaries, the attackers are the humans. To counter them, you need to be, humans has to be there this side. Okay. Okay, now after completing our degree, which course we should learn? Don't wait for your degree to get completed and take a course. Start parallelly. Start working parallelly. There are various courses are there to start with. I will suggest you Network Plus, the CompTIA Network Plus, and Security Plus is the easiest beginner level courses, which will help you to understand. It also gives you hands-on experience on how to handle the networking as well as the network security. Okay, so you can parallelly start doing the CompTIA certifications. Any students who are interested, Dr. Revati, if anybody is interested in the certifications,
Yes,
please
yes.
let me know. I have content, I have material. I can actually we can run the free training for them, so that only thing they have to just pay for the certification when they write the online certification exams.
Sure, sir. We'll find it out and I'll come back.
Yeah. Okay. After MCA, suppose we do job for at least 2 years, is doing MTech a plus in our career aspect. See, there are two things there. In the cybersecurity industry, what they look at is the industry certification. You can do MCA, MTech, PhD, that's fine. That is on the qualification side. But in terms of skill set, the certification is the one which determines how skillful the person is, or at least what kind of exposure he has. Because these certifications are not that easy. For example, the CISSP exam, okay, which I was talking about, it's a 6 hours exam. Okay, it's a 6 hours exam, 600 questions, and you have to write continuously. You cannot take a break, not like a college, 2 hours, 3 hours, you write and then go back and come. No. So it is a strain, it's test your mental strength as well, and the problem solving capability. Okay, so you can do your MTech, but parallelly do your certifications. Any other question?
Thank you, sir.
Hmm.
There is one more question. Is it hard to learn cybersecurity as a beginner?
No, I'm telling you, it is not. You see, not just because I'm there in this industry. I'm telling you, it is only one thing is required in you. Ask yourself, are you as a person, are you a curious person? If you are curious to know anything, okay, whatever you, even for simple thing, if you're curious to know, you go to Google, search for it, try to understand how it is. Because those days, if you don't know anything, you have to go to superior or go to your elders and ask them, okay, or you have to go to the library. Today, in your hands, in your phone or in your laptop, you can learn anything, you can know anything, right? So all you need is a curiosity. If you're curious to know things, you have the right attitude to be a cybersecurity engineer. So it's not tough. I'm not saying this just because to impress people, yeah. I'm telling you, there are people, the problem which I see is people are not guided properly. Okay, so people who do their engineering, I've seen a lot of people who have done the MTech, BTech, and then they try jobs here and there, and maybe they take up sales career. Somebody takes up a what do you call technology career, technical career. Okay, if not programming, they get into this space. Okay, it is more of an accidental, not like a planned approach. Okay, but if you start planning your career right from now, maybe first year students or second year students, if you start planning that I want to be a cybersecurity professional, you can build block by block. By the time you finish your professional degree, you can be ready for an employment. See, I'm telling you, after MCA, MBA it's more of a management side of it. Okay, so I don't know, it's fortunate or unfortunate. 20, almost 30 years back, after my computer science degree, I did my MBA. I did in Madras University. I did a specialization in both marketing and systems. But see where I've landed up now. Okay, so MBA certainly develops your management skill. Okay, ability to manage yourself and the people around and resources, things like that. But if you want to be a technocrat, I suggest you pursue a different line of career. Hello. Is there any other question?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the motivation. I request our director Revati ma'am to share a few words.
Sir, thank you very much for readily accepting today's invitation and for today's webinar. And it's really an eye-opening session for our students. And added to all these things, you have given a wonderful opportunity for our students in cybersecurity. Really, it's a wonderful session and an eye-opening session for our students, not only for our students, for our faculty members, also for us also. We came to know that all these designations are in cybersecurity. We came to know all these things. Really, it's a very, very insightful session for us. Thanks for giving this opportunity for our students. So we will find out those who are interested, and we'll take the list and we'll come back to you. Because second year students, they are going for their project internship by the month of December. So now they're having their university exams by the month of December. They're going for their intern. So at that time, those who are interested in cybersecurity, so definitely they can avail this opportunity. And one more thing, I want to know, sir, for internship from January to April, so they are in India. So how can they connect with you? How can they work in your plan?
Excellent. So thanks to this COVID-19, after that it has taught world that we can be remotely. So today we are, without coming to the institution, I'm able to meet all these wonderful students and the faculty members, right? So especially cybersecurity works remotely only, because the hackers as well as the defenders are anonymous. Okay, so wherever they are, they will be given assignment, they will be given a work, they can work from wherever they are, and they have to meet certain criteria, certain deliverables and deadlines. That's it. They are not necessarily asked to come here. See, the objective is this simple. I am looking for young minds who are really interested in building up a career in cybersecurity. So our motto is catch them young, watch them grow. It may sound a little bit raw, but what I'm trying to say is we have to identify those bright minds, give them opportunity, and start building them career right from this stage. Not like after they come out MCA and then start thinking, what should I do? Not like that. If you have the thing, that's what I asked. If you have the thing in you, that is the curiosity and the persistence to develop a career in cybersecurity, you are the right candidate for us. See, we are not a company which is like trying to like one of the companies operating in the UAE. We work in a very niche area. As in the introduction, somebody has told, young lady has introduced me. I have spent almost 10 to 12 years in the offensive security space. When I say offensive security, I work with the national security agencies, law enforcement, defense organizations in hacking or intruding into the individual or the organization to extract data for the counterterrorism purpose. So I know how difficult and how easy to intrude into the organization or to the individual. Okay. Now, what we want to emulate is we want to capture the young minds, train them on the ethical hacking, train them to emulate as an actor, so that when we actually go to the customer and tell the customer, dear customer, your attack surface, that means your external facing infrastructure is so vulnerable, I can penetrate inside your network and I can reach out to up to your database server, application server, whatever it is. Okay, and I can remain there until 50 days, 100 days for you to detect. If I can do that without any bad intention, a hacker can come inside and take everything out of you. If I demonstrate this capability to the customer immediately sign up the contract with me to start listening, because I'm not prophesizing, I'm not talking, I am showing them how vulnerable, how easily attackable they are. Okay, so that is why we want to capture the young minds, train them in the hacking, ethical hacking, so that when they join us on board, the full-time employee, they will be used to protect this business by showing them how vulnerable they are. I hope I made some sense.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I now request Mr. Zainul Hassan of 2nd MCA to deliver the vote of thanks.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, and a very good evening everyone to present here. It is my privilege to propose the vote of thanks today. First and foremost, I'd like to express my sincere gratitude to our resource person of this day, Mr. Ramesh Sivaraman, for his valuable time and for sharing with us a lot of information. Thanks a lot for making the session interactive and for giving us a lot of ideas on how to build our career in cybersecurity, and most importantly, for giving us insights on becoming a cyber warrior. Thank you so much, sir. A special thanks to our respected director, Dr. Revati ma'am, and the head of the department, Dr. Usha ma'am, for the immense support and conducting a successful webinar. I also thank to all the professors for this presence, and also extend my sincere thanks to all the participants for attending this webinar and making it a grand success. Thank you all once again. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you so much. Actually,
Thank you,
I'm
sir.
looking forward to work with you guys. So the young minds who are interested, please come back, get back to us. We will see how we can work together. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Doctor. I really enjoyed sharing my whatever little bit I know to the students. And if this is what I think people who are here are basically Tamil speaking people, right? You all understand Tamil. In the Kamalatan dialect, Maratha na இன்னைக்கு வெச்சா யாரோ ஒருத்தர் நாளைக்கு நல்லது கிடைக்கிற மாதிரி யாரோ நமக்கு சொல்லி கொடுத்தாங்க. இன்னைக்கு நம்ம அதை உங்களை மாதிரி எங்க ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ்க்கு சொல்லி கொடுக்குற மூலமா நீங்க அடுத்த ஜெனரேஷன் நீங்க வரும்போது உங்களை மாதிரி இருக்கிற பல பேருக்கு நீங்க உதவியா இருப்பீங்க நம்பிக்கையோட இந்த வாய்ப்புக்கு ரொம்ப நன்றிங்க.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
sir. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Students, kindly fill the feedback form posted in the chat box.
Students, those who are interested in cyber security, you can approach us and you can tell your interest, okay? So that we can contact with sir. Second year students. Okay. Those who are really interested, you approach us.
Oh, sir. Those, sir.